Okay, so hi everybody, my name is Klaus Fleerkötter. I'm a developer at Torquebox in Hamburg. And I think I might warn you because the first slide already might be a bit offensive to the wing people. I say, hello Betty. Tonight I want to talk to you about SeeMeSpeak. That's a project we built at this year's Rails Rumble Hackathon a couple of weeks ago. What is SeeMeSpeak? So SeeMeSpeak is an online crowdsourced dictionary for sign languages. So there's a lot of stuff in here now. It's online, more or less obviously. But it's a dictionary for sign languages, which is crowdsourced. So that's a quick introduction. We're together with Bodo and Florian, who also participated in the hackathon, and Jan, who unfortunately can't be with us tonight.
He's in Chile.
He's in Chile right now. That would have been a bit of a wait. So this is kind of a thing you all may or may not be familiar with. Like a dictionary, and it's really like an everyday thing. So I use these pages more or less daily, but compared to this, we can see there is it's a bit of a difference if you're a speaker of sign languages. Then the state of the art concerning online dictionaries doesn't look as good. Turns out there are almost no good learning resources for sign languages on the internet. They're either not free or they're not compelling to use. Not free being meaning free as in freedom. So what we really need is a big online corpus of translations, signs to spoken language, and as I said, most material there isn't available under free license, or licensing is a hassle, or it's poorly documented. And if you have a free corpus, then it's usually buried in not too compelling to use software. For example, this page is it's a wiki for the German Sign Language. There's sort of more. A wiki is nice for a start, but there are probably more technically compelling types of software you could use for that.
It's not a video.
That is a video, yes. Well, this is a video inside of a screenshot of the web page, but it's technically a video. Despite from improvable usability, there's the problem of contribution. So it is hard to contribute more, or harder to contribute to a sign language dictionary because you have to produce videos. So you probably don't need to be Santa Claus, but you probably need some kind of professional recording where you need some video editing or video conversion tools. And then at the end of the day, you have to do some kind of categorization. So there's really some friction. And speaking of categorization, there are, I don't know if you knew, but there are different sign languages. So for example, there's the German Sign Language, but there's also the American Sign Language, the French Sign Language, and another thing there are of course also different regional dialects and regional variations. So for example, there might be, all across Germany, there might be different signs for the same word, or signs can mean a different thing in different regions. So a dictionary would need to account for these kind of variations. So what we really need is a system that makes the contribution of signs as frictionless as possible. It must account, or it should account for different languages, both sign language and spoken languages, and the categorization needs to be flexible and possibly, ideally, also forward compatible. So yeah, HTML to the rescue. Unfortunately enough, technology is kind of cool these days, and modern browsers have everything we need to solve this kind of challenge these days. So I want to have a quick look with you at the prototype we built at the Rails Rumble Hackathon. So this might be the most courageous attempt showing a bootstrap-based prototype to a bunch of front-end experts, but nevertheless, bear with us. This is our app. It welcomes you by showing you video of the day. In this case, the sign for noodles. Yeah, and so this is to be beat. Okay, so you might remember this from the screenshot earlier. We can search for specific terms, specific words. I have a look at all the words in the system. Let's see what looks like.
That's awesome.
So we can already see this is the German Sign Language, and yeah, it's taken from the DGS wiki, the page where you saw the screenshot earlier from.
Can you show us another one that is also German Sign Language? Is it the same?
Yeah.
No, here from. Yeah, no, I thought.
So these are we kind of imported a corpus to start with because without translations, it's really the most viable part of the system. Wouldn't be too much fun to use. Yeah, there are already about 850-ish translations in the system. It's in this project. But the most, so this is kind of pretty standard. Where really, well, some new comes in is the usage of the webcam to record new signs. So we all run around with these devices that have a webcam built in all day, and we kind of can leverage this to make contribution as easy as possible. So this gets a little tricky now. Yeah, let's record a new sign. Maybe it's a context thing. So disclaimers, I'm not a speaker of sign languages, but I do my very best to record the word for hard drive right now. Let's see. So, okay, so I wasn't doing that stuff anymore. Let's try that again. Don't know. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. So as you can see, we had a little video preview over here. We now have we can now review our contribution. Yeah, we can add some text to it, so that it kind of fall under the category of computer. Don't think this is an insult. It isn't really vulgar. No, it's not really casual. Yeah, it's the German Sign Languages. My name is Klaus. And here comes, so this is not technically too challenging, but all the videos in the system are licensed under the Creative Commons license in order to start building this free corpus of translations that we aim for. Okay, that's about the main functionality of the system.
Where's the submit button?
Yeah, where's the Ooh. Tricky.
Waiting.
Yes. Okay. Okay, so how did we build this? Bear with me, some technical details following, but yeah, it's basically a Ruby on Rails application. The hackathon's name is Rails Rumble. This is more or less ours. The technology I just used for recording the video, that's the Get User Media API. On the backend, we use an application server called Torquebox, and everything is powered in the back by elasticsearch for persistence and search functionality. So for recording the video, This is a bit of extracted code example. Yeah, well, the first thing we do, you may have noticed this this application wants to use the webcam. That's a security feature. First, when you call the get user media, and then the browser asks you for permission because obviously it's a bit of a privacy-related thing. In our case here, we can pass it an object with configuration parameters. In our case here, we obviously only need video. And we can pass it a callback, so if the users click the button and the API is available, we then set up a media stream record object over here, and after that we also pipe the output of the camera to an HTML5 video element. So this is the little preview functionality you saw. Like after I opened the page, I could already see video preview of me preparing for the recording. Yeah. So what's this? And after that, we then register a callback with a media recorder and start the recording with a fixed time slice. In my case, it was 3 seconds. There was a little drop down. We could select the time range. So what's this weird media stream record thing doing? That's actually a W3C working draft standard. It's just an object that takes media streams or get user media, as the more known term for this, and provides some methods to start the recording, stop the recording, or record based on the time slices we did. This thing isn't currently available in Chrome yet, but there's a polyfill called media stream recorder which we also used. It uses a couple of other libraries under it to do the recording, but hopefully, this gets standardized quickly. It's roughly half a year ago.
Is it polyfilling to Flash as well?
I think they're developing a Flash fallback, because that would obviously be really interesting for older Internet Explorer users, I think. Currently, it uses a library called Whammy.js under the hood. This is still like native HTML5 video, but you would actually have to deal with some nitty-gritty details of capturing keyframes from the camera and building up a blob that's basically an array of pictures to record, and it's basically what the what this shim does under the hood. Okay, and after, actually didn't show you whether the form submitted successfully, but what's happening there is that we're sending an XHR2 over jQuery. So what we do here is we basically have the form for just one form for submitting metadata plus the video data. And it's interesting, here's the use of the form data objects. That's actually part of the XHR2 set of standards. And we initialize it based on the existing form. So we just reference the existing key value pairs, the data from the input fields that already have been filled. And we append the blob to it. So that's the video data we got from the media stream recorder. And then by instructing jQuery in the right way, we can actually make sure that the request that's being sent on the server just looks like a regular file upload. So I said we are using Rails on the backend, and for Rails it's indistinguishable now whether the user had an input type file kind of upload or whether it's collected from the webcam. So Rails has some. For example, then if it sees this kind of multi-part request, then it saves the binary file to a temporary file, and you can reuse your existing infrastructure. It's kind of cool. Any questions so far, maybe?
Do you as a service have a file upload fallback for non-HTML5 users?
No. So we kind of rest on the fact that this was a prototype built in 48 hours. So we didn't consider all the technology really much until now. But as you mentioned, like a polyfill that uses Flash would probably be an interesting alternative. So unfortunately, up until now, we also only support Chrome. You'll see as a Firefox user some ugly warning on the front page. Although that's a bit of a drawback, but that is from the standard supports kind of view, it should already be possible in Firefox.
What is the format that the video is recorded to?
We're recording in webapp.
But is this standardized or free to browser implementation?
Yeah, so the video codec support differs a lot across browsers, but luckily now the Google set of protocols is supported at least across Firefox and Chrome, and yeah, so we're free to record in this format, but we later transcode on the server side to being able to support more browsers at least for playback. So on the back end, we use a technology called Torquebox. That's a Ruby application server that's built on the JBoss project, which is a big kind of application server from the Java land. So as you may know, there's a Ruby implementation in Java that's called JRuby, and which is used in this case. And it's it's a server that supports the WAC standard, so you can just run any Rails application or Sinatra application and many more. But it's not just a server, so it's also a platform that ships a lot of built-in services, like for example, messaging, scheduling, and daemons. And it's production ready out of the box. It supports because it's a long evolving project from the Java space. It's already got built-in support for clustering, for failover, for example, or for high availability clustering, or for doing load balancing. But what's also nice is that it has a very turnkey experience for a small project like we had. So despite its really fully functional beast, the setup and initial deployment goes very fast and really handy too. The reason we used it in our case was background messaging. So as I mentioned, we're doing video transcriptions in the background, and you usually don't want to do that while the user's already waiting for its upload. It's a really lengthy process, so we're postponing that to some later point. And Torquebox has a nice set of abstractions for that. So it uses a messaging system called RunNQ under the hood, and in addition to the low-level messaging APIs, it also has this high-level messaging abstraction called backgroundable. I've got a little snippet of Ruby code here for you that should demonstrate how it works. So what's key here is the call to always background, which takes a reference to a function. And so backgroundable allows to call arbitrary methods in an asynchronous way. What happens in the background there that it puts the call on a queue, and work is then processed asynchronously. And instead of processing the method synchronously, it just always background wraps it so that the function returns a future. So we're actually able to interact with the results of the function call in an async way. In our case, we didn't need to handle the results from the video processing here directly, because we just finished the HTTP response and then do that asynchronously, but it's potentially possible. Okay, so the last piece of technology I kind of want to introduce you to is Elasticsearch. So Elasticsearch is a server for searching in document-oriented, unstructured JSON documents, basically. It's built on Lucene and has a nice HTTP API to interact with. So also it's originally intended for running a distributed index for full text search. It's nowadays also pretty usable for storing schema-less documents, which is what we did. So we ran Elasticsearch as the only backend without an additional database. So yeah, what's it intended for big data purposes? It was also kind of usable for us in this tiny data example. So again, the setup was really turnkey. The JSON API is pretty good to work with, and also for the 800-ish videos we indexed, it had a really small memory footprint, which was important to us too because we were running on a kind of restricted node-only node, which had 1 gigabyte ROM only. And so the data we needed to store wasn't really that complicated. This was our data model, so as you kind of more or less directly reflects what we saw in the form earlier. So we have a transcription, which is the textual representation of the sign. And we then have so these transcriptions should be searchable. So, but apart from that, we also use flagging and tagging. Flagging means we have a fixed set of criteria. In our case, that was these little checkboxes for vulgar and insult. So if somebody submits something like that, we probably want to know in order to being able to exclude that later. But in addition to that, we also enable tagging. So as we said, we want to have a flexible categorization, which is potentially future-proof. We use tagging to allow the user to add unstructured data with the entry. So as I said, Elasticsearch is operated using JSON over HTTP API. This is a sample query that is made in the background when we search for hello, for example. We just give it a match query, searching over the transcription field with the content of hello, and we also filter using Boolean filters, must and must not. So we only search for review videos. If you deal with video upload in an open web application, you probably want a mechanism of re-approving what gets uploaded there. We also employ our flagging mechanisms, so we exclude insults, vulgar transcriptions, and casual words by default. And so this is just JSON. And if you're working with dynamic languages like Ruby or JavaScript, that really allows for seamless interop from your data models. So we were pretty easily able to develop a small abstraction of the searching process, just serializing our data models and building the query out of that. There's still a bit more, some libraries we also use that I just want to briefly mention. It was Popcorn.js for video playback with cross-browser support. On the backend side, we used the Virtus gem which is DSL for building a domain model, basically. So which is a really nice thing. It's been extracted out of the data map again, and it's recently went 1.0. So if you do Ruby and you don't always do active resource, you should check that out. For doing the actual video conversion, we just used a custom wraparound libapp, also known as FFmpeg. And maybe you notice on the start page we show English translations for the German transcriptions, and that was done using the Bing Translator API. Okay, so that's so far for the technology stack. Just want to leave you with some impressions of ours concerning the hackathon format. So the Rails Rumble is a hackathon that's held every year in a distributed manner. So people don't get together, but it actually happens all over the world. There are 500 slots per year, and this year I think about half of the teams that participated also handed in a running app. And because it's distributed, it basically runs from Saturday 0 p.m. to Sunday 12 p.m. So this is what the schedule looked for us due to the time zone differences. We were able to start on Saturday morning, and being able to start in that case for the Rails Rumble means you get access to the production environment. So they give you like the little box where you're supposed to deploy it up to, and you then get the wide access to the GitHub repo. That's how they run it. So we didn't, but as we earlier said, Jan, our fourth team member, he was working from Chile. So we because we were 3 guys in Berlin, we kind of stuck to the Berlin schedule. Started on Saturday, was 9 a.m. and we then did our final commit on Sunday around 11 p.m., 12 p.m. But yeah, so Jan had a bit of a disadvantage due to the time zone differences. But we didn't. So you can see we didn't use like all the 48 hours we had available. We still got some sleep in between. So that was good. So, but maybe if you want to do a full work around the clock kind of scheme, just ship off some people to some other locations, and that wouldn't be against the rules. So some suggestions from our side for participating in a hackathon like this. Prepare. So this really can't claim that we fully prepared ourselves to the best extent, but as you can imagine, if you only have 48 hours, cutting features early and aggressive is like really important. So you could already think about what the essential user journey within your application is, and then prioritize based on that. If you can, you should avoid complex features, for example, doing user sessions right from the start, because that really saves you a lot of time for the more flashier parts of the application. And you should also consider, for the Rails Rumble, there was a public voting. So a few days after the final, after the competition ended, all the apps were released to a public audience for review. And since about 250 apps were there, people didn't really spend much time with the application. So estimate about under 10 seconds that you have to make a potential voter, and therefore the focus should also be on self-explaining app. Many of the contestants, they do some kind of guided tour, so they kind of guide the user through the journey they want them to have. And preparation for us also meant, for example, pre-downloading the videos from the DGS wiki in order to have some demo content available. Although time is really limited, we suggest that you don't fully drop your craftsman skills, even under pressure, which was meant integrating early. So probably you're used to a feature branch model at work. Having longer running feature branches, that's maybe okay in some cases, but for only 4 people and in 48 hours, it's probably okay if everybody's just on master, and then if you have merge conflicts, you just grab the people or yell at them, depending on the time of the night. Also, continuous deployment is really handy. So there are a lot of teams in the Rails Rumble where you can see their rage tweets a couple of minutes before the deadline, when they're hastily trying to get their deploy script running or pushing out the latest changes, and in order to not run into that situation that you built your app and it's all working locally really fine. Deploy right from the start, get your setup straight, and deploy regularly, even though that means that your app breaks from time to time. But it would be really a pity if you build a nice app and then just because your deployment fails, we cannot show it to the public. And yeah, regarding testing, I mean, that's a prototype most of the times, and you probably make some compromises there, but if you compromise, then still you should focus your testing on the most essential functionality. So it's all good and nice, but if you push your app and then 10 minutes after the deadline, when all your server access is locked and you cannot push anymore, then discovering like an exceptional error directly at the front page, that kind of sucks, and it wouldn't be just worth the 48 hours you just spent. And also sleep. So in the end, it's for fun, so don't waste yourself. We had a good 8 or 9 hours of sleep in between, and this was really, well, for me at least, pretty good. So you get back in the morning, you have a fresh mind. You'll be more productive in the end if you at least were a bit of sleep in between. For us, it worked out pretty fine in the way that we were able to get most of the essential functionality done on day 1. So we had the day 2 for completing that, for wrap up and for polish. So if you can, that's really good. But, you know, just work around the clock. So summing up, now we're here with this prototype of the application, but we really are eager to continue the work on SeeMeSpeak as an online dictionary for sign languages, because we really feel there's the potential here of people, programmers coming together with, so to say, domain experts of sign language to really build an app where there's a need. So if you know people that, if you speak sign language, or if you know people that speak sign language, would be awesome if you could point them to our project and just record some signs, because not only for us, but being able to have this kind of free corpus that's on a free license would be really cool to have, and people can do stuff with it, build APIs on top of that, come up with cool stuff. That would be awesome. Again, I showed you pretty just bootstrap based front-end prototype. Any feedback or any help is really appreciated for that. We're desperately in the need of coming up with a better design and basically revamping our UX. And yeah, so if you like, check out the code. It's on GitHub. We're eager to continue with that, and if you're curious in the project and you have some ideas, yeah, feel free to approach us. We're here for the evening, and apart from that, thank you very much.
Did you manage to get some fundings for that? Did you apply for any money?
No, we didn't kind of specifically try to get any funding on it.
Did you think about Kickstarter?
One thing is we actually won our hosting. So we made an API split, and so we've got hosting for free for a year now. So we basically covered in that regard. And we built a lot of the project for fun currently. So I can say one thing about Media Stream Recorder and all the polyfills currently. They're cool for fun. They're cool for your hobby project. Don't use them in production. For example, the compression of the video is horrible. So this 3-second video is about 1.8 megabytes. That's where the upload button is not really snappy. So it's cool to look at, and it will definitely improve in the future. And but currently, I think we have enough time to do it on the side. So
It's a cool project. I didn't even know that there is like more languages inside of this. I thought it's just one.
Yeah, that's the first thing I explained to everyone. So I'm a coder, which means child of a deaf adult. So my parents are deaf, and every time I speak with someone about sign language, the first thing I explain is that it's different even in Germany. So I can say father or father, This is the same word, but it's a different sign in North Germany or South Germany. It's like a normal language. Normal languages have dialects and sign language as well, because it's a living language. So someone invents a new sign and it gets adopted somewhere and it's changing and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I didn't have a clue.
yeah.
Why did you choose Ruby?
Oh, it's the Rails Rumble.
So
Good point.
Also, I'm doing Ruby for like more than 10 years now. I'm also involved in the Ruby Berlin e.V., which runs Rails goals and everything. I don't know, you've been doing it for quite a while.
6 years now, I think. Yeah.
We actually didn't take too many experience on the technology side. As I said, I run the Elasticsearch user group, so picking Elasticsearch was actually just pick something that you quick to use will. Also, we picked Torquebox for the reason that it has backend processing built in immediately after deploy without setting up a queue and stuff like this, and for 48 hours. And the boring thing I have to say about Torquebox when you are on a hack test, it runs as documented. Yeah, it's good in hack test, it's really boring in hacking.
Is there a non-offensive word for family-tron?
I didn't know.
So the sign you saw was specific for this for the Turm here in Berlin because of the shape.
Yes.
And the usual way is to say Fernsehturm. That's one way to say it. But that one is specific to the shape of the building. So. In sign language, you try to think of shapes or things you do. So driving a car is most of the time it's like this, and
driving a motorbike.
Yeah, exactly. Motorbike is like this. Sign language is for countries. I don't know every country, but there.
Don't show that.
Sign language for countries picks things that are very unique for that country. For example, here in Germany, we do this for the Netherlands because of the head of the Netherlands cheese girl. Let's put the sign for that. Or you pick very significant things about persons. For example, if he can search for Merkel.
yeah.
Okay, I can show. The problem is you can't spell the name all the time. So the name you can pronounce the name with the alphabet, but you don't do that in fluent talk. So usually what you do is you pronounce the name and then you say, okay, this name is this sign, and usually you take something that's very unique to that person. For example, for Merkel, there are two possible signs you could do. Non-sign language speakers would think about this as the language, because this is what she always does, but you don't want to do that, because in sign language that means vagina, so you don't do that. But you do something different for John Merkel, you do this. Because she always looks like she's sad, so that's her meaning. A friend of my father has no left arm because of an accident. His sign language name is this, so he has no arm. It can get really mean if you are a little bit overweight. You can have your sign language meaning to this. He's the fat guy, or he's the thin guy, or
Turm.
yeah. So that's,
How is Germany? Beer or?
Germany depends on where you are, but most of the times Germany is the beer.
Also, what we found out through our search function was that the mouth was really important.
Yeah.
Actually, the reason why I came on this project is because I tried to learn sign language and I didn't find an online service to actually try stuff. Yeah, the sign for telecom and Taliban is the same. If you don't have a look at the mouth, yeah.
There were, for example, questions raised whether we could use like motion detection or use a Kinect camera or lead motion to kind of have sign to text translation, stuff like that. But as it turns out, there were research projects, if I recall, trying to attempt that. But as the mouth is an important conveyor of information for sign, as a conveyor of context, you cannot really do that without it. And given the resolution of these systems these days, it's probably not that feasible yet.
So what you see, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago it went to the press. Everyone showed it to me. It was a video of a research project of Microsoft Japan with their Kinect, where they did the sign language translation with the Kinect system. And for someone who can speak sign language, I can say that's completely bullshit. It's not working. It's not practical because of it's not only the hands that are important. The Kinect is not, the resolution of the Kinect is not high enough to have the fingers in the system. They only do the hands. And some of them, if you do 2 fingers, it's big enough for them, but simple, fast movements of all fingers, the Kinect can't do that. So what they do is they guess with the movements of the hands, of the arms to the sign language. And if you have fast sign language signs with fingers, it fails. And it also fails if you need the mouth for it. So sign language combines the hands, the mouth, your complete body is in the sign language. So if you want to show some angry words, you have to tilt your body sometimes, or need your mouth and your eyes and stuff like that. It's a complete body language.
That's also the reason why this shot was picked, where you really see the whole person. There's one thing, if you have a look through the videos, it's also quite interesting to see how the gestures looks from the side. So that would actually be the better way of improving this. So there are some parts of this corpus that we have that has shots from front and from the side at the same time. But our goal was making it easier for people that just have a notebook there and some time to just hit the button and make a video immediately. Because I think the biggest problem about the wiki page is really that the whole production process is far too elaborate. You need a camera, you need to get it connected, you need to get the video off, you need to convert it to something that the wiki wants, and then upload it and tag it and stuff like this. So this was the thing that we wanted to rebuild in this weekend.
I would like to ask for who is this project? For deaf people to understand each other, or for us to learn, or what was your idea?
Basically to provide what's there for everyone else, like a dictionary. And the dictionary, I think, is for most people. I look up stuff in the German dictionary all the time as well, although I speak it.
It's a dictionary.
Yeah.
Also to find like different, I don't know, this is really a question, where does it come from? And then you figure out, oh, that's the most German way of saying the thing that I already know.
Speaking of sign language, what did you guys use to communicate during the 48-hour hackathon?
Skype.
So we 3 were in the same office, and our Chile guy called him via Skype, and his internet connection mostly worked, so it was okay.
But yeah, we did actually present some stuff over Skype to him, so that he actually knows what it's about. He's not a speaker as well. I would consider myself a speaker as well.
Well, it was a fun moment when we first got the recording working, and everybody was sitting in front of their cameras and doing crazy stuff. That was really nice. Which we couldn't do too much with him, unfortunately. But yeah, we had it on his iPad and held him against the whiteboard where our stories were written up and stuff like that.
It has some weird features. I can actually tell you what how to log for Hackfest is doing tiny features that make things more interesting, like translating. We only had German words, but we knew that most people that would judge it would be English speaking. So that's the reason why we built in the translation for all the words, stuff like this. And also, do waste time on odd features. It runs in Firefox OS, except the video recording. For all the reason that Firefox is not supported, but it's tested.
Just two things. The first thing is you're talking about dialects, but I didn't actually see like dialect selection box in your video, or is this in the sign language box that you can say, okay, it's Nordic, German?
Yeah.
Okay, so I understood.
I think the internet both for me, unfortunately, but
All right.
we decided, so we had a select box for the language, so this kind of a fixed thing, but we implemented the dialect only tech based. So what's probably useful now is some kind of user validation. Getting out, seeing people use the software in order to build up more sophisticated categorization based on that.
We didn't end up building in autocomplete. That's just the case where we actually can't figure out which dialects all people want to enter. Like there's even local dialects just for cities, so we can't build a fixed list. So this is the first go where we put in an autocomplete, so people know what's already entered and maybe choose from this.
Sometimes as well.
Okay, and the second thing was, what's the difference between Telecom and Taliban? Because I'm working for a telecommunication magazine, and that would be really fun to know.
In the sign language, the mouth movements, the hand movements for both is the same.
Okay, how does it look like?
T.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
and you say Taliban or Telecom. And that's why deaf people are pretty good at reading mouth, not only because they can understand people who can't do sign language, but also it's a very important part in the sign language as well. So it's kind of, the mouth movement is the fallback when you speak with someone in a completely different region. If someone from North Germany goes to Bavaria, and the Bavarian guy speaks really, really thick Bavarian accent in his sign language, the mouth movement will rescue them.
Okay.
Really?
At least they have a fallback.
Yeah.
So Bavarians are even not understandable in sign language. It's really great. Really keeps me well.